ceasefire. ये काफी चर्चा में ये शब्द है आजकल. There is a lot of discussion going on around ceasefire. I thought let us understand the nuances and complexity which is associated with the word ceasefire, and then a few words which are associated with ceasefire itself. Ceasefire basically a compound word है, and then इसमें दो word है. एक तो cease है. Cease which means to stop. A Latin word इसका origin हो सकता है अगर if you want to go for its etymology. Cessare, which means to give up, to stop, to renunciate. And fire, of course, the other word is fire. जिसका मतलब होता है, of course, etymology comes from fire, but it also means to shoot or engaging in combat. If you talk about ceasefire, therefore, it will be Yuddh Viram. इसका एक common सा translation है हिंदी में. Otherwise, it can also be called as Shastra Viram or Yuddh Viram that we have got. It comes into effect instantaneously. तुरंत ही प्रभावी हो जाता है. And I think इसका कोई usually, I must use these words, कोई expiration date भी नहीं होता है. जब अगर हम इससे we try looking at some related words, there's a word called truce. Truce is normally I should call it as a halt in conflict. Conflict जो चल रही है, fight जो हो रहा है, उसमें अगर if you just say temporary halt, that can be called as truce. And then if this even is smaller than truce, it can quite often it's called as stand down. Even more temporary will be stand down. And I think if you just want to go deeper into that, there's another word close to that, very similar in meaning, is de-escalation. जो तनाव और जो भी उन्माद बढ़ रहा था उसको कम करने को de-escalation कहते हैं. And there is even a closer word to this is cessation. Cessation of hostility is another word they use quite often. This is very, very formal use that can possibly be seen in the form of older English is still stand. Still stand and still older if you want to go for Surcease. SURCEANCE, Surcease. So बहुत सारे वर्ड्स यहाँ पे आपको मिल गए इसके आसपास के. एक वर्ड मिला truce, दूसरा मैंने बताया आपको standstill, third is de-escalation, fourth is cessation of hostility, and also you have got the words like Surcease or Surceans, as one can imagine. But then if you get deeper, there's another word which is close to it, is Armistice. Quite often Armistice and ceasefire are interchangeably used. But then अगर हिंदी में इसको देखा जाए तो कई बार armistice को हम युद्ध विराम समझौता कहते हैं, which means it's a more of a formal word which also involves not only stopping the war but also after stopping the war you have got armistice. But इसको ऐसे देखें that ceasefire can be unilateral. One party can say that I'm not fighting. And armistice is always two sides that we have got. And then it cannot be, I would say, unilateral. Armistice has to be bilateral. It has to be, or trilateral for that matter. And they always, both of them, be it truce and be it armistice, ceasefire, whatever words they talk about, they all thrive on one thing, and that is mutual respect. In fact, quite often the word they have got here is pax behavior. Pax behavior is pax is peace. The behavior of peace is very, very important, and just cannot be possible that you have, you're thinking of armistice and then you are still engaging in skirmishes, as they may use the word, but then fighting still. Modus vivendi is another word that I would like you to learn. I'm sure today's newspaper, I have seen this word appearing. MODUS VIVENDI. Modus vivendi is basically, modus is the process, the way, and vivendi would be leaving. So modus vivendi is way of leaving. And usually, till the final agreement is signed, a temporary sort of agreement, a way of living with pax, way of living or behaving with pax. Pax behavior is what they can possibly identify in the form of modus vivendi. And then after these processes that go, they get into the more formal situation. where the commitment is higher. That can be the words like accord, and concordat is a little more formal word. Covenant, when you swear by it more. So accord, uh, concordat, and also, shall we say, covenant. Covenant is more formal that we have got. And I would like also to share one more word which comes close to this, is, and I expect that you should be knowing, is détente. Détente, Dete, yes. Détente is basically another word which basically, when you have got ceasefire there, and you create a condition of peace or détente. That's what they would imagine. A condition of peace can be referred as a détente. So there's another word which comes here, is détente. And it is during this time, one effort which is usually seen to be taken up is CBM, that is confidence building measure. I suppose these words, which are likely to be there in the newspapers, I thought that you should be aware of them. Be it détente, be it concordat, or a covenant, or accord, or truce, or modus vivendi, or armistice, ceasefire. I expect that you should be understanding them carefully. And it is not a single word. I mean, we have seen there's so many words which come associated with it. But then I must tell you, ceasefire is a very fragile thread. I repeat this again. It's a very fragile thread on which the hope of millions are hanging. So it is very much expected that if it has been signed, they should not be violated. Otherwise, India knows how to respond. Jai Hind.